Bonjour, bienvenue au cours de français. Today, we are going to do a complete recap of all the things that we have done in the previous lessons of this unit. For example, we will start with the question making forms. One of the most used question making form is qu'est-ce qu'on? Qu'est-ce qu'on achète dans une pharmacie? Qu'est-ce qu'on achète dans une boulangerie? Qu'est-ce qu'on fait le week-end? So, do you remember all those? So, coming back to question making forms, in French, there are certain expressions that you can add in order to form questions. One is qu'est-ce qu'on, qu'est-ce que, est-ce que, comment, pourquoi, qui. But if you want to also ask question with a normal expression such as, for example, you want to say, are you sick? So, you have also the possibility of asking it by changing your way of saying it, like, tu es malade? You want to ask somebody, is it far? You can just convert a proper sentence into a question just by saying it differently. C'est loin? C'est près d'ici? Is it nearby? So, in French, we have also this possibility. But before that, we will now first start with a few question making forms. Qu'est-ce que? Qu'est-ce qu'on achète dans une boulangerie? What do you buy at the boulangerie or bakery? On achète les croissants. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait dans un hôtel? What do you do at a hotel? On dort. We normally sleep over in a hotel. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait dans un restaurant? What do you do in a restaurant? On mange. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait dans la gare? What do you do at the station? On prend un train. Qu'est-ce que tu fais le week-end? Qu'est-ce que tu fais le week-end? What are you doing in the weekend? Je regarde un film. I'm going to watch a film. Je vais jouer au tennis. I'm going to play tennis. Je vais lire un livre. I'm going to read a book. So, we have multiple possibilities of answering that. So, these are a few things that I am telling you in order to start a conversation with your friend. The next word that we are going to learn is comment. Comment means how. Comment allez-vous? How are you doing? Comment tu peux trouver un médicament? How you are going to get a medicine? Je peux trouver un médicament avec une pharmacie. I will find medicine at the pharmacy. So, these are the small usage of comment. Comment tu peux écrire une lettre? How you are going to write a letter? Je vais écrire avec un stylo. I am going to write with a pen. Then we have also learned this expression combien. Combien means how many or how much. So, in French, combien replaces both how many and how much. Combien ça coûte? How much does it cost? Combien d'élèves sont dans la classe? How many students are there in the class? Il y a 20 étudiants. There are 20 students. So, now the next question that we have, the question making form or question making expression that we have learned was pourquoi. Pourquoi means why. Pourquoi il fait très chaud? Pourquoi il fait très chaud? Pourquoi il fait très chaud? Why is it so hot? Parce que la clim ne marche pas. Because the AC is not working. So, you know the word for AC in French, la climatiseur. Le climatiseur, in short, we call la clim. So, le clim ne marche pas. Now, we are going to say another example, which is something to do with hot and cold, because we just learnt AC. So, pourquoi cette eau est froide? Why this water is cold? Parce que c'était dans le frigo. Parce que c'est dans le frigo means because it is in the fridge. So, at times we use a few tense in French like in English, which we haven't learnt yet. So, I will just reduce the entire question once again, because normally I should say c'était dans le frigo, but since we do not know the imparfait tense yet, I am going to use it in the present tense. Pourquoi cette eau est froide? Why this water is cold? Parce que c'est dans le frigo, because it is in the fridge. Pourquoi cette eau est chaude? Why this water is hot? Parce que c'est sur le four, because it is on the stove. So, now you know how to use pourquoi. Remember, pourquoi is always responded with parce que. Now, we are going to learn another word which we have learnt in one of the previous classes, qui. Qui means who. Qui a un stylo rouge? Who has a red pen? Qui porte le t-shirt bleu? Who is wearing blue t-shirt? Another form of question that we have also learned is est-ce que. Est-ce que vous avez du pain? Do you have bread? Est-ce que tu es libre ce weekend? Are you free this weekend? And there are multiple forms like quelle, which we have learned in much previous class. Quelle means at what, like quelle heure est-il? What time is it? Like quel est votre nom? What is your family name? So, these are the question making forms that we have learned in this lesson, in this particular unit. Now, I will go to the next phase of the class today, which is cardinal and ordinal number. If you remember, we have done from 1 to 10 in our last class. So, first is première, second is deuxième, third is troisième, fourth is quatrième, fifth is cinquième, sixth is sixième, seven is septième, eighth is huitième, ninth is neuvième, and 10th is dixième. Now, we will go forward with the cardinal number from 11 to 20. 11. 11 is 11. So, 11 is the number. So, what is the ordinal of 11 is onzième. Is the same spelling like in other forms of ordinal. It's so you can see it O N Z E I E accent grave M E. Onzième. 12th is douzième. 13th is treizième. 14th is quatorzième. 15th is quinzième. 16th is seizième. 17th is dix-septième. 18th is dix-huitième. 19th is dix-neuvième. And 20 is vingtième. So, I repeat, onzième, douzième, treizième, quatorzième, quinzième, seizième, dix-septième, dix-huitième, dix-neuvième, vingtième. So, as you know, the city of Paris is divided into districts which we called arrondissements. J'habite dans le 20e arrondissement means I live in the 20th district. Combien de élèves nous avons dans cette classe? How many students are there in this class? You can say, on est 11, we are 11. Où est le 11e élève? Where is the 11th student if there are only 10 present in the class? So, these are the different ways you have to use ordinal numbers in French language. Now, going back to the ordinal number once again, I would request you all to go and check out the main difference of ordinal and cardinal numbers in any language. So, just to remind you once again, in French the ordinal numbers are always the same against, except for the second, because for the second you have two, deuxième and seconde. Dans la deuxième partie de ce cours, on va voir quelques situations qui concernent la vie dans une ville. In the second part of this class, we are going to devote to a few situations that occurs in the city life. Je veux rencontrer une amie ce week-end. Je veux rencontrer une amie ce week-end. On donne un rendez-vous devant le cinéma Rex. On donne un rendez-vous devant le cinéma Rex. On se retrouve vers 15 heures de l'après-midi, 3 heures de l'après-midi ou 15 heures. I hope you have understood what I have been saying. I am going to meet a friend of mine and it will be during the weekend, and we took an appointment to meet in front of Cinema Rex. Cinema Rex, as you know, is one of the historical cinema hall in Paris. So, when we meet our friends, normally we say salut, ça va et toi. Now, in order to talk about a few things that we have learned in this particular unit, we are going to imagine that I am having a telephone conversation with a friend whose name is Jacqueline over the telephone. Now, over the telephone, how do you converse? Allô, allô, salut, salut, salut Jacqueline, ça va et toi? Où est-ce qu'on se retrouve ce samedi? Où est-ce qu'on se retrouve ce samedi? Where are we going to meet this Saturday? On va rencontrer devant Cinéma Rex. On va rencontrer devant Cinéma Rex. We are going to meet in front of Cinéma Rex. Jacqueline, je ne connais pas Cinéma Rex. Je ne connais pas Cinéma Rex. I don't know where is Cinéma Rex. J'habite dans la campagne. J'habite dans la campagne. I live in the countryside. Je suis nouvelle à Paris. I am new in this city of Paris. Ah bon? I said, ah bon. Je te donne la direction depuis notre université. Je te donne la direction. I am going to give you the direction to reach Cinéma Rex. Tu marches tout droit, you walk straight jusqu'au le métro Saint-Gobelin. You walk straight up to métro Saint-Gobelin. Tu prends ligne numéro 7, you take the 7th line et tu descends à côté de l'Opéra National, and you get down near l'Opéra National. So, this is another conversation I am telling you in order to find out how we are going to use the expressions that we have learned. So, rencontrer is the verb which means to meet, and you know the conjugation: je rencontre, tu rencontres, il rencontre, elle rencontre, vous rencontrez, nous rencontrons, il rencontre, elle rencontre. And now we are going to see how le rencontre and rencontrer, these are two different words, how you can distinguish between the noun and the verb. Je rencontre and la rencontre has the same spelling. So, la rencontre means the meeting, je rencontre means I meet somebody or I am meeting somebody. So, rencontrer is a verb which often used in French, particularly while talking about meeting of friends and formal meetings. Coming to the third part of the lesson, now we are going to see once again the prepositions. So, when we have prepositions like a and de, we know that a and de also changes its form according to the article of the noun that it follows. So, the first one that we talked of was au restaurant, à la poste, à la banque. So, je vais te rencontrer à la banque. I will meet you at the bank. Je vais te rencontrer au restaurant directement. I am going to meet you at the restaurant directly. So, when we converse in French, we use these prepositions very easily according to its norm. Je vais te rencontrer à l'université means I am going to meet you at the university. So, with the questions that we can now ask, I would like to have a complete conversation with a friend at the restaurant, and I hope you will be able to follow it properly. Salut Jacqueline. Salut monsieur le professeur. Ça va? Ça va. Et toi? Ça va très bien. Qu'est-ce que tu fais ce week-end? Qu'est-ce que tu fais ce week-end? Je ne fais rien. Je ne fais rien. Je te propose d'aller au cinéma. Je te propose d'aller au cinéma. On va voir quel film? On va voir quel film? On va voir un vieux film de Hitchcock. On va voir un vieux film de Hitchcock. Hitchcock ne m'intéresse pas. Hitchcock ne m'intéresse pas means Hitchcock doesn't interest Jacqueline. Hitchcock ne m'intéresse pas. So, this is another verb. We'll quickly learn it. Je m'intéresse means I like. Tu t'intéresses, il s'intéresse, elle s'intéresse, nous nous intéressons, vous vous intéressez, il s'intéresse, elle s'intéresse. Donc, Hitchcock ne m'intéresse pas. Donc, dans ce cas, on va aller pour une promenade au jardin de Tuileries. Dans ce cas, on va aller pour une promenade dans le jardin de Tuileries. So, here I will just tell you two things. Promenade means to take a walk. So, you have lofty gardens in Paris like Jardin de Tuileries, Jardin de Luxembourg, Parc Montsouris, where people go for walk. So, we are thinking of going for a walk in Jardin de Tuileries. So, on va prendre une promenade au Jardin de Tuileries. Il fait très froid. Il fait très froid. Je ne veux pas passer le temps à l'extérieur. Il fait très froid. Je ne veux pas passer le temps à l'extérieur. It's very cold outside and I don't want to spend time outside. Dans son cas, on va rencontrer dans un restaurant. Dans ce cas, on va rencontrer dans un restaurant. In that case, we are going to meet in a restaurant. Quel repas préfères-tu? Quel repas préfères-tu? Which kind of food do you like? Je préfère le repas de l'Italie ou les plats italiens. Les plats italiens. So, she says that she likes Italian food. On va aller à Place Monge. On va aller à Place Monge. On va passer le temps dans un restaurant italien. Place Monge a beaucoup de restaurants. À la Place Monge, on a beaucoup de restaurants. So, in this entire conversation, you can see that how differently we are using the words to form questions, number one, and also the prepositions. Along with this, now I would request you all to write down a conversation between you and your friends in your respective cities and how you can take an appointment to go out during the weekend. In this case, as you have learned in much previous lessons, you can go to le concert, the music concert, le concert, pièce de théâtre, plays at the theatre, aller voir un film, you can go and see a film, aller au restaurant, you can go to a restaurant. And before we come to a close of this session, in your respective cities, remember to use a few expressions such as qu'est-ce qu'on fait, quel, qui, vers quelle heure, and try to use au restaurant, à l'école, à l'université, aux Champs-Élysées. Also, try to use the words that we have learned in a city primarily like les boulevards, la rue. Then we can also talk of different kind of stores that we have learned, la boulangerie, la pharmacie, l'épicerie. L'épicerie we have learned in the previous lesson actually means a spice shop, but which translates into English as grocery. So, with all these words, slowly we are coming to a situation where we can express ourselves completely in French in a city. So, before we go to the conclusive part of this lesson, let me tell you something again in French. Je suis un étudiant, j'habite à Paris. J'habite au 5e arrondissement. Je ne suis pas très loin de l'université de Sorbonne. Il y a une épicerie en bas de chez moi. Je vais assez souvent au restaurant. J'adore les parcs et les jardins de Paris. Tous les week-ends, je prends une promenade dans les jardins et dans les parcs. Now, before we conclude this session, I would like to request you to do a research on certain aspects of Parisian life. Number one, find out about Jardin de Luxembourg. Then you can also find out some information about Parc Montsouris. Parc Montsouris is situated near the International University City and it has lovely restaurants. Jardin de Tuileries. And remember one thing, on peut aussi faire une recherche sur les bibliothèques de Paris. You can also do a research on Paris libraries. With this, your vocabulary will increase and your understanding of French culture and heritage will also be improved. With this, je vous souhaite bon courage, bonne continuation, à la prochaine et au revoir.